So everyone has cancelled everything. No one's going to anything. The Queen didn't go to the Commonwealth service. Harry's not coming to see his grandfather's Thanksgiving, and Camilla's pulled out of the racing. So shall we just finish this podcast now?
Shall we just leave now? I know I wrote the list and was like, Mrs. this, Mrs. that, Mrs. this.
No, they're not doing. William and Kate are still going to the Caribbean. They've got 2 days left to cancel. So
yeah,
let's hope.
As are we, hopefully. We've just had our tests, haven't we? So
we've had a PCR test. So if it comes back negative, we'll be in the Caribbean by the weekend. If it's positive, then we won't be.
Well, fingers crossed.
So what happens if you test positive and I don't, or vice versa? You find someone else to replace me?
Fine, I think I'll still be going, yeah.
Fine, okay. You definitely need a producer out there. You'll have to do all the reports and the
just everything. Everything, okay.
You'll be fine.
All right.
Actually, we've told you on this podcast in previous episodes, William and Kate are off to Belize, Jamaica and Bahamas. 3 realms of where the Queen is still the head of state. We always have, can you name all 4? I tried to do all 14 the other day with my mum and dad, and I got to 10, I think. Which was
it's quite tricky, but we won't bore everyone with it again. But yes, they're celebrating the Queen's Platinum Jubilee.
Yes.
In all 3 countries.
And did you know that Belize used to be called the British colony of Honduras?
Chris was writing...
British Honduras.
Frantically scribbling notes on Belize.
Up until 1862.
Just before we recorded this.
How many people lived there?
I knew you were going to test me, and you know I don't know.
405,000, so less than 500,000.
Oh, wow.
And approximately which state in the United States is it equal in size to?
You tell me.
Massachusetts.
OK, very good knowledge.
Anything else you want to know about Belize?
Nope, that's good, thanks.
Nope, got independence in 1981, so that's like 40 years now. Been independent, but it's still got the Queen as head of state. So welcome to the podcast. We will be telling you about all the things that did happen as well as all the things that didn't. And actually on the Queen, she did miss her Commonwealth Day service, which I think we'll all agree is quite a serious thing to miss for her. She wouldn't have wanted to do that, just as she doesn't want to miss things like Remembrance Sunday and had to last year. We're kind of getting into a place now where the Queen's absence at some of these big events is perhaps not as big a story as it was before because it's happening so regularly.
Yeah, we talk about the events in her diary that are heavily inked in there. You talked about Remembrance Sunday, but the Commonwealth Day service, the annual Commonwealth Day service, is a really important date for her, celebrating the family of nations, it's sort of affectionately known, the 54 Commonwealth nations. I was going to say how many are in there, and
you got there first. So
I got there 54.
first, 54.
So she will have been, it will have been a regret to her to have to miss it, but we understand it's not due to illness. It's to do with her comfort travelling to and from Windsor to Westminster Abbey, back again, and then during the service. And it's a long service. It was an hour.
Yes, they announced this on Friday night, didn't we? After we said in our podcast when we recorded it on the Thursday that she is still hoping to go. So something kind of changed in those 24 hours, didn't it?
Yeah.
And I can't remember what we said in the podcast last week. I think I might have said I suspect she might not go.
I think we talked about how important it was to her and how she would hope to be there, as they said. But I can't remember.
I can't remember what I said, but if anyone does remember what I said, then do let me know. But I think we've got to a point now where there are lots of things being cancelled. Now, obviously, the next big thing on the horizon is Prince Philip's Thanksgiving, which is, a week on Tuesday.
Yeah, his service of Thanksgiving,
also
the 29th of March, also at Westminster Abbey. So they will have to have the same discussions for that they did for this.
Yes. Can she go? Can she get there from Windsor? Will she be able to walk through the Great West Door and down the nave and into...
There is another way in to the Abbey. You can come in via Poets' Corner, which is what she did when she went for the centenary of the Royal British Legion. Right. She did come in through that entrance, and it is a shorter walk. So
it's snuck in the back, but actually it means it's a shorter walk for her.
Yeah, so there are options for her to come in a different way, but they will have to consider the journey as well. And the length of the service,
and and her mobility as well. If it is about her mobility, then how far can she walk? How far can she sit? Can she travel those long distances in the car and all that?
Well, you remember when she had that audience when she said, "As you see, I can't move." So mobility is clearly an issue. But she must have good days and bad days, because do you remember the pictures from Sandringham of her accession weekend when she held that reception at Sandringham House, how mobile she was and how she was half an hour on her feet meeting and greeting people. So there must be good days and bad days.
Skipped around the room that day and then it didn't look quite so mobile again. So that's Prince Philip's Thanksgiving is on the 29th of March at Westminster Abbey. So the Queen's hoping to. I just kind of think she'll really, really, really want to be there because it's about him. It's about her beloved husband. But we spoke, didn't we, to the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Patricia Scotland, Baroness Scotland, about the Queen's absence, and asked her about what it means. I think, essentially, and we'll play the interview that we did with her. She's basically said that, well, the Queen can't be here, but Prince Charles will be, and he's had a long journey with the Commonwealth as well. He is the next head of the Commonwealth, and we know that the Queen will be watching on TV. Clearly, the Queen is going to be missed today. We think it's for mobility issues. She will, of course, be there in spirit, but sadness that she can't be there in person.
Absolutely. I mean, she is the heart of our Commonwealth family. There is not a country who does not celebrate her and really appreciate that she is the head of the Commonwealth. She's head and heart. So she will be missed. But I think she will be thought of, she'll be celebrated.
And she'll be watching.
And she will be watching. Yeah. And we know that she'll be watching. So this is going to be a great we love you moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she can't be with us. So we're sad, but we are appreciative of everything she does and the fact she's still here.
And she said way back in 1947 that she would commit herself to the Commonwealth family for the length of her reign. And even though she can't be here physically today, as I'm sure she would love to be, because it's a very heavily inked part of her diary, but she that commitment remains.
Absolutely. I mean, can you think about it, saying at 21, I will dedicate myself to the Commonwealth, whether my life is short or long. And she's done that every single day of her life. She has committed herself to the peoples of our Commonwealth, and they have committed themselves to her, and so long may she reign.
And I suppose we do have to realise, though, this is probably a realisation for us all that the Queen's not going to be able to go to events like this in person, and we know that Buckingham Palace are looking at her diary and seeing what does she need to do and what does she no longer need to do.
What's wonderful is that Prince Charles, who will be the next head of the Commonwealth, has been with us also for the whole of his life. If you can think about the times when he first went to visit the Commonwealth on the great ship Britannica, he was there. So he has walked this path, and I think it's wonderful that he is walking this path for her and with her. He'll be with us today in the Abbey. He'll be with us in Kigali in the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. And so that passing of the baton from her to him and the rest of the royal family is something that we also have to value and celebrate.
So that was Patricia Scotland, and they just held, that was just after a sort of a memorial that they do to those lives lost in the Commonwealth in, was it the two great wars? Or
the First and Second World Wars. So the Prince of Wales represented her, didn't he? As he does now, laying the wreath
then. So, yes,
on.
Let's see who did go.
Sunday.
Let's see who did go to the Commonwealth service. And here is Charles and Camilla arriving. They were, of course, the last to arrive, but he was representing his mother. Camilla was dressed in purple. I think there was a communication from one of the palaces about what she was wearing. I forget. Anna Valentine?
There was. No, I don't think it was, actually. I can check. You can tell everyone what else happened, and I'll find the...
Fine. Kate was wearing something blue. We had a discussion about whether it was blue. Yeah, let's have a look at Kate. This is William and Kate arriving. Again, we had a communication from the palace about what she was wearing, and I completely forgotten what it was. But Lizzie's about to inform you of all these really, really important details. But William and Kate arrived just ahead of his parents and his stepmum. And we wonder whether she was in blue for Ukraine, because as we spoke last week about William's arrival at that particular event. Did we discuss last week the whole Ukraine thing?
Yes. So the Duchess of Cornwall was in a purple wool and velvet coat dress by Fiona Clare, and the hat was by Philip Tracy.
Philip Tracy's a hat man. And Kate?
I would have to check back on Kate. Right. But I think that bright blue was potential nod to Ukraine. It is in that bright blue of the Ukrainian
She needs to wrap
flag.
a bit of yellow around it to make it really obvious. But yes, it's entirely. Oh no! Somebody said, wasn't she, again, not my area of expertise, she was wearing some jewellery that she also wore when they met President Zelensky.
Yes.
In St James's Palace a few years ago, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a very good spot.
By somebody else, not me, I should point out.
Yes. Now, I've got some facts here on when the Queen last missed the service.
2013?
Very good. She was
Gastroenteritis?
very good. And before that, she had not been absent from a Commonwealth Day service for how long?
Birth of Edward, or because she was on tour?
No, for 20 years, the last time being when she had flu in 1993.
So 93, and then didn't miss it until 2013.
Yeah.
And then didn't miss it there wasn't one last year because of COVID, but...
And I think we've spoken before on this podcast about the Queen's remarkable health. I mean, she's nearly 96. And
how little she's
had to miss or cancel throughout her reign.
Until really the last 3 or 4 months, till we had that can't go to Ireland and cancelled this and cancelled that, and it's all kind of gone a bit wrong, if we can use those words, or...
Yeah, and we think that we might see changes, don't we, to her diary?
Yes, I mean, it's our understanding that things like, and we put this in our report the other night, didn't we? Things like the long investiture ceremonies, which have been held, they've been doing a lot of them recently, haven't they? Catching up the ones they couldn't do over COVID. But those long investiture ceremonies where you get your honour personally from a senior member of the royal family, the Queen did her share of those, and it's that kind of thing that is now being struck from her diary for good, the kind of thing that she can't do. She might be able to do individual honours like when Captain Tom was knighted in Windsor, but her diary is being amended.
Yeah, I mean, those services are long and you're on your feet for a long time, so you can understand if mobility is an issue and they're thinking about her comfort, why those would be challenging for her. But yes, we might see her do the one-off special investitures like she did for Captain Tom, where it's much quicker.
I was rereading Robert Hardman's book the other day, which he wrote for the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. You might be aware there's a new one just out, or about to come out.
I think actually the 17th. It might be out today, actually.
The Daily Mail was serialising some of it, but I was rereading the one from 2012, and I was just amazed by how much had changed in terms of the Queen's health. And he was writing then about how nothing ever gets cancelled. The Queen sort of carries on as if she's in her 50s, and Prince Andrew was quoted in there, who'd recently stopped being a trade envoy. Of course, the Duke of Edinburgh was there to support her, everything, and it kind of came at me at a dawning realisation of quite how much has changed in these 10 years between the Diamond Jubilee and the Platinum one.
Well, yeah, and the last time we saw the royal family at a Commonwealth Day service was 2020, when Harry and Meghan were attending their last public engagement. So how much has changed just in a couple of years?
Yeah, and even then, I think William and Kate had only just become the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Prince Harry was not yet married.
Sorry, by the Diamond Jubilee. Yeah.
And it just, so much has changed. But we should get Robert Hardman on, shouldn't we?
Yes.
Actually, we should invite him onto this podcast. He has been on it before, and given he's got this new book out, which is, what's the formal title of that new book? Queen of Our Times. Queen of Our Times. And he is one of the foremost biographers of the Queen and the royal family, so always good to hear from him.
And we have seen the Queen this week.
We have.
She has been conducting audiences face-to-face and virtual, face-to-face at Windsor Castle. She handed out the Queen's Gold Medal for Poetry to Grace Nichols. And she also held afternoon tea with Canada's Governor-General.
Canada's Governor-General is, do you have her name there? Governor-General Canada. I was reading somewhere, because I'm sure we were out there in Canada recently when they nominated a new one. But the current Governor-General, if I can find
This is riveting watching.
I've got a list here of Viceroys of Canada.
Bear with us.
1541 to 1627. Does anybody want that?
I think the audiences do show, though, that she is well and able to still carry on her duties. It's just, the long drive and sitting for a long period of time was probably the issue for her.
Yes. Mary Simon, the
there we go. I filled a bit of time while you found
Governor General of Canada, was here, and she met the Queen. I read somewhere that she is the first Governor General to come from the native Canadian population. You would have thought that they might have done that a lot sooner than now. But so Mary Simon was here with her partner or husband, and that much I don't know. And I must confess that if you've tuned into this podcast to hear much more about Canada's Governor General, you've come to the wrong place. But I've got her partner's name. I just don't know for sure.
But he was there.
He was definitely there. I don't know whether it was husband or non-husband. So anyway, let's
move on.
Should we move on? So the Queen had two virtual audiences, wasn't it, and two in-person audiences this week.
Yeah. So she has still been carrying out her duties, just from the comfort of her own home.
Indeed, and she is still remarkably busy.
The Queen did, for Commonwealth Day, she did release her annual message, and in that she renewed her pledge, and I will read actually her words. She said, "In this year of my Platinum Jubilee, it has given me pleasure to renew the promise I made in 1947 that my life will always be devoted in service."
Yes, and that was the pledge she made on the tour of South Africa in 1947. My life, be it long or short, shall always be devoted to the service of this great empire, I think she called it then, but it was changed its name rather rapidly, didn't it, from Empire to Commonwealth. And yes, that was the Queen's message, basically saying, I can't be there, but I will always be with you till I'm not anymore. And it kind of had a phrase of it. Yes, I will always be with you. Be my reign is long or short, and as we all know, it's been rather long.
It's been extraordinarily long, 70 years in fact, and there were lots of tributes to the Queen during the service and her 70 years and the Platinum Jubilee this year.
Indeed. Mary Simon, in case you were wondering, her partner/husband is called Mr. Whit Fraser. And he was with her. If you want to see pictures of the aforementioned Mary Simon and Mr. Whit Fraser, you can go on to our ITV News Royals Instagram page, where you'll find the aforementioned pictures of the meeting at Windsor Castle.
Excellent.
I didn't know that, actually. The other in-person meeting the Queen had is not up there. But Kate in her Ukraine blue is, if we can call it Ukraine blue. So, right.
Sorry, you were going to talk about Harry.
About Harry, because Prince Philip's Thanksgiving is happening. We hope the Queen's going. She certainly intends to go. And Harry won't be.
No. So we're expecting members of the royal family, dignitaries, representatives from all his, many of his charities and organisations. He had hundreds that he supported throughout his life. But there is one member of the family, as you say, that will be missing it, and that is Prince Harry. He's not flying over for it.
Yes, I'm just looking at what their office basically told us is that he will be going to the Netherlands for the Invictus Games, but he won't be going to the service at Westminster Abbey. Now, which is odd. Now, you will know, if you're a close follower of royal matters, that Prince Harry is taking legal action against the Home Office currently. Because he wants to pay for an increased level of security in the UK. He wants access to the kind of intelligence that the Queen gets, William and Kate get, Prince Charles and Camilla get, and he said he was willing to pay for it, which, no one can accuse him of not wanting to put his hand in his pocket. And yet the Home Office have said, well, you'll get it if you're entitled to it, and we don't think you are, so no, you can't pay for it. It's not how it works.
I think, the Home Office said during the court hearing that I think it was judged, wasn't it, on a case-by-case basis, but that it wasn't available to purchase.
Yes. I mean, I don't know the full details. No one actually knows how this whole security thing works. I, however, would have thought if you're going to Westminster Abbey for a service where the Queen, Prince Charles, Camilla, William and Kate are, it ain't going to be that unsafe. It's going to be quite secure. I
was surprised when we had the message through to say he was going to miss it, because he's very close to his grandparents, and he flew over for the funeral. I would have thought he would have wanted, and I'm sure he does want to be there for the memorial service, but he's obviously decided that's not possible.
For whatever reason, whatever security reason makes it impossible to go to Westminster Abbey when the Queen and other members of the royal family are there, and to claim that is that's unsafe. But he'll have his reasons, and he's not going. But he is coming to Europe. I think it's a month from today. Didn't I read on the Invictus Games?
The 16th to the 22nd of April.
A month yesterday. Then it's the Invictus Games, and he is coming to Europe for that. So, question: how can you feel safe in the Netherlands, but not in the UK?
The $1 million question.
Right. Should we ask Harry?
Yes.
And they'll reply with, sorry, can't comment?
Yes.
Right, fine. So I won't bother.
That's
often what they do. Yes, they do politely reply to your request for information with, we can't comment.
And then he posted, didn't he, the day after we found out that he wasn't going to the service of Thanksgiving for his grandfather, he posted, or Invictus posted, a sort of a little promo video with Harry and...
Here it is. Yeah. Wasn't there didn't he dress up in orange? Oh,
he did, yeah, and he was learning some Dutch.
Oh.
And he was in, full orange, bright orange.
Wow.
Let's go.
In fact, instead of having to listen to Chris's phone, we can play you the images now.
Do you know what? I'm
going to take that phone away from you.
Whilst I posted
on this podcast,
I posted that on my Twitter feed earlier. I haven't actually watched it.
Well,
so I think
you can watch it with the viewers.
Do you know what? I think that was a slight shock that what I was seeing. Do you want to see it for yourself?
One more time, guys, please. You know I need to get this right, and I really want to get it right as well. So, how do I say, good afternoon, you've done a great job in Dutch?
Goedemiddag. Jullie hebben het goed gedaan.
Okay.
Goedemiddag. Jullie hebben het goed gedaan.
Goedemiddag. Jullie hebben het goed gedaan.
Yes.
I'll take
Sounds
that.
good.
And what else? Anything else I need to know?
Can you say stroopwafel?
Stroopwafel. Love those. I get double thumbs up from Fenner. I get a slightly bizarre looking face from Yella. Are you a teacher in your spare time?
I was before I...
That's why. What else? What else do I need to know?
Scheveningen.
Scheveningen. Oh dear. Okay. Scheveningen.
Wat goed.
Wat goed. Yes, very good. Do you think I'm ready?
We think you're ready.
Dankjewel. Tot ziens in Den Haag.
And don't forget your hat.
Ah, yes. Don't forget my hat. I got my hat. Oh. And the glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
We're ready.
So what did you make of that then? Orange sunglasses, orange hat. Well, he's definitely game for it. He loves the Invictus Games.
He does. People have often talked about how the Invictus Games was kind of Harry's first baby.
Yeah.
And he's incredibly passionate about it, and he's done... you can't take away from Harry that he's done an amazing job with the Invictus Games. But he did come under a little bit of criticism on social media and in some media outlets at the weekend that, why can you come to this, but you can't come
you can dress up in whatever you like, really. I mean,
Yeah.
to support the Invictus Games, it still doesn't sort of resolve the question of why can't you come to your grandfather's Thanksgiving at Westminster Abbey that no doubt your grandmother would like you to be at.
Yeah.
So...
but we do also understand that he will... visit his grandmother as soon as possible.
Yeah,
but not for the service.
Well, she doesn't fly to California because she doesn't do international travel, so he's got to come here.
Yeah.
So at what point is he going to feel safe enough to come here to see his grandmother, as they say, as soon as possible?
Yeah, the other $1 million question. I also thought it was interesting.
Come and see your grandmother as soon as possible, but if you are, you're going to be unsafe.
I also thought it was interesting that we were told he'll come and see his grandmother as soon as possible. That was the phrasing to us. It wasn't
father.
He'll come and see the family as soon as possible.
Well, rather hints that all things are still not very good in that department.
And we still have his memoirs to be published later this year, which,
which is, of course, going to make him even more loved within the family.
Well, depends what he says, I suppose.
Okay, right, so while we're on the theme of people pulling out of things, Camilla's pulled out of something as well.
She's actually pulled out two things. So yesterday, which was Wednesday, she was due to attend the Cheltenham Festival. If you're listening abroad, that's a big racing fixture across sort of a week, isn't it?
Didn't happen last year and happened just before the lockdown, wasn't it? A lot of criticism that spurned a lot of mixing and spreading of the virus, if you recall.
It's understood that the Duchess, who has just recovered from COVID, is pacing herself following having COVID.
Did you say two things?
I did, yes. So she also cancelled an appearance at an evening event on Monday where she was due to meet the High Commissioners and Commonwealth Secretariat staff with Charles. So on Monday she went to on Tuesday she visited the Irish Cultural Centre in West London. But on the Monday evening she decided to cancel.
Oh yes, so there was some Irish Cultural Centre they went to and had some Guinness at, because it's actually Happy St Patrick's Day.
Happy St Patrick's Day.
Today is St Patrick's Day. Happy St Patrick's Day to all of you too. William and Kate actually will show you some pictures imminently of them making a St Patrick's Day visit. But let's rewind to Monday where Charles and Camilla went to this event and
Tuesday they were at the Irish Cultural Centre. Yes.
And then maybe she had too much Guinness in the afternoon. And
no, I think from sort of people, I was speaking to someone the other day, and they had actually spoken to the Duchess, and she said that she was, feeling the effects of COVID, and
COVID doesn't just stop on day 5, does it? It continues in your system for quite some time. So.
And the Duchess is 74, and just because you're royal doesn't mean that things don't affect you.
Indeed.
And we know how COVID can be pretty brutal and really affect people.
Yes. We wish the Duchess a speedy recovery and hope that she does indeed get better soon. William and Kate then, we were on St Patrick's Day things. William and Kate are doing exactly that today, aren't they?
Yeah, we can show you some great pictures. This is something they have attended previously. They're at the St Patrick's Day parade with the Irish Guards, and there is a very special regimental mascot.
The dog. Yes.
Seamus. Seamus, the Irish wolfhound. Yes. So they are there today, Thursday, at that. So we can show you some pictures now of
and no doubt
them.
Kate is in green. I haven't seen the pictures yet, but she will be.
She is. Yeah, she is.
So they're at that, and we might have to pack bags tomorrow.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Fingers crossed. We can bring you next week's podcast from somewhere slightly warmer.
Yes. Where will we be next Thursday? Somewhere between Jamaica and Bahamas, or one of those two.
One of those two.
Yes. So we will endeavour to bring you the podcast from slightly warmer climes. Well, really depending where you're listening to this podcast from. You might already be in a warm clime. We, however, will be escaping the British late winter and early spring for something hopefully a bit nicer.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, we can't say about the programme, but we do have a lot of details that we will be able to share online on Saturday. So if you just head to our website, itv.com/news on Saturday, we'll have a full list of what they'll be doing, where they'll be going, as much as we can tell you before we jump on a plane at some ungodly hour on Saturday, isn't it?
I don't think we can complain.
We can't. No, I don't like getting up early, and I will have to do for this particular event, but I'm sure it'll be worth it. Anything else? I've got nothing else on my list.
No, I'm all done.
Right. Okay. I should be wearing some green today. I'm not. I'm afraid you're not.
I'm not.
So I have a green cushion. There's a green cushion there. Happy St Patrick's Day. Thank you for watching. We'll see you from the Caribbean next week.